Hi everyone, my name is Grace and I am the co-founder, owner, and creator of Filipino Virtual Assistants. And today we have Coach Hannah of the Filipino Virtual Assistants in Japan. And later on, we're also going to have Maiden and Margaret. So we're going to talk about freelancing in Japan. So let's bring Coach Hannah. Coach Hannah, I know that when we first talked on the possibility of having a franchise of the Filipino virtual assistants in Japan, I saw that passion. You were just burning when it comes to the talk on the possibility of having people working in Japan, especially in the Filipino communities in Japan, have the work from home experience or scenario because of the COVID-19. So probably I would start with what is the current situation of the Filipinos in Japan today, and what made you decide to go and franchise the Filipino virtual assistants in Japan?
Okay, first of all, I'd like to say konnichiwa or hello from Japan. So our prime minister here, actually just a few days ago, he extended the state of emergency. If in the
Mm-hmm.
you call it quarantine, other countries call it lockdown. But in Japan,
Mm-hmm.
a state of emergency. So a lot of establishments, especially schools, were closed down. And many English teachers, or we call them ALTs, lost their,
Mm-hmm.
and that means no work, no money.
True.
So actually, even in my own school, I've got on-site and online schools.
Mm-hmm.
Teachers cannot have classes because the mothers or the parents of my students decided not to let their children go out. So
Mm-hmm. Of course.
us, our own students, we don't know when they're coming back because this is
Mm-hmm.
not yet really settled. So my one of my teachers is also a junior high school teacher,
Mm-hmm.
just relaying to me the situation of many Filipinos where suddenly they lost their jobs,
Mm-hmm.
problems with money paying their bills, and then
Mm-hmm.
at least three of my own teachers cannot
Mm-hmm.
jobs by March that time. So I was reminded by my hired virtual assistant from your school or
Mm-hmm.
Filipino virtual assistants. She's been really encouraging me to keep in touch with you in January, but
Mm-hmm.
my plate is really full. I'm doing a lot of
Mm-hmm.
creating online school.
Mm-hmm.
There comes a situation where my own school is also affected now by the pandemic. So
Mm-hmm.
I'd like my teachers to continue receiving financial support. So
Mm-hmm.
uh, I, I was reminded of this FBA, your school. So
Mm-hmm.
and I think this is the opportune time for the Filipinos to skill up, reskill,
Mm-hmm.
skill, and then since we are encouraged to stay put, to stay at home,
Mm-hmm.
actually Japan is preparing for the Olympics and Paralympics where
Yeah,
people
supposedly in
are,
July. Mm-hmm.
yes, they were encouraged to do telework. So now people like transition from working to faraway places, but then stay home. And I said,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh, okay, I think working as a virtual assistant is really the thing now,
Mm-hmm.
not even before the pandemic." And so I contacted you in March and
Mm-hmm.
was really rushing things because March 1st, actually, my teachers already lost their jobs, and I'd like them
Mm-hmm.
to find online jobs right away. And, it's a big burden for me that I cannot really, give financial support to them, but,
Mm-hmm.
encourage them to skill up and they can find extra income or job or even like business startup coming up with a company like, a team of entrepreneurs, digital marketers.
Mm-hmm.
First they have to be trained. So I
Mm-hmm.
FDA
Mm-hmm.
or it's doing good, and but it's a new thing for most Filipinos here in Japan.
Mm-hmm. It's not that common.
Not yet here.
Mhm. So, now I saw that your very motivation, first is your teachers and providing food on their table because, many of them lost their jobs. So, why did you think, Coach, that, the freelancing course is an avenue that would help people? I think you mentioned that already. Probably you can elaborate further. on the thought on why do you think it's fitting for a lot of Filipinos who lost their job to start with the freelancing course, to start with the idea on working from home, just like you mentioned, they need to be taught first, they need to be, trained first. Now that you are in that, why now that you are a franchisee of the Filipino virtual assistants, knowing the lessons and going through the whole lesson, set up for yourself, what can you say when it comes to the lesson? Is it appropriate for those who are, needing the work situation or needing work from home, even for those who are not just teachers, but the Filipinos who lost their jobs in Japan?
Okay. Actually, last year I was exposed to virtual assistants. I
Mm-hmm.
was coming up with an online Japanese language school and
Mm-hmm.
hearing a lot about Upwork. So I went there and I was so surprised. Most of the workers are non-Filipinos, but they just
Mm-hmm.
believed in the skill of Filipinos. I have my own brother who's a computer engineer. And
Mm-hmm.
why I cannot really see a lot of Filipinos working on Upwork. So I
Mm-hmm.
virtual assistants, but I've got some not so good experience with the virtual assistant.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, I last year I realized my friend posted let's say her Facebook something like she just finished a course from FBA, just trying
Mm-hmm.
like maybe Filipinos can be good workers for Upwork. So I was
Mm-hmm.
an employer trying to
Mm-hmm.
VAs.
Mm-hmm.
And then this time also in Japan, they were encouraging their workers to do telework.
Mm-hmm.
Now my own work teachers lost their jobs. I mean, don't have classes. So these factors, I believe, uh, working from home, WF,
Mm-hmm.
is one skilling up Filipinos, which I believe in the
Yeah.
capabilities
Mm-hmm.
of Filipinos, and also helping the government with this preparation for the Olympics.
Mm-hmm.
Pandemic, all the more, all these factors, came together. This is the opportune time for them to have training as
Mm-hmm.
and actually it's really interesting that when I franchise FBA for Japan,
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking more for the Filipinos here.
Yeah.
And I thought also that there will be a coach who will be training people like
Them.
kind of
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, I will just franchise and then somebody from
Mm-hmm.
the Philippines will train the Filipinos.
Mm-hmm.
When I was communicating with you, you told me, oh, I have to do that myself. I
Yeah.
was like, oh no, I have to rush everything. And I already have
Mm-hmm.
projects ongoing. So
Mm-hmm.
to train myself, and I realized, oh, I still have to learn a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what is this search engine optimization? And
Mm-hmm.
actually, I've been using Facebook ads, but I'm not really sure how to use it. Just
Mm-hmm.
using the boost thingy. And then the more I watch your videos, the more I listen to different coaches from FBA. Wow, I still have to learn a lot.
It's
Whenever
a
I'm
whole
learning,
new world. Yeah.
yes, it's really in a digital generation. I
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm older than you, and my generation, we're not really into this digital or, using all this
Mm-hmm.
assistance. But
Mm-hmm.
Japan is a high tech country, and
Mm-hmm.
with the trainers, actually, we have a lot of advantage here when it comes to internet connection. We don't have any problem, and
Mm-hmm.
then power failure. We don't have any blackouts around here. And communication wise, gadget wise, we all have this. So it's a big advantage for the Philippines
Mm-hmm.
here in Japan. Um,
True.
Actually, I'm trying to fire out my trainers, my students, that we have all the advantages here in Japan.
True. Very
Yeah.
true. Compared to
And
the Filipinos here.
yeah, so I really hope that, Filipinos here, even the foreigners, can catch this, if you call it vision or mission,
Mm-hmm.
that
Mm-hmm.
we have all the advantages here in Japan, that
True.
we can just
Mm-hmm.
really skill up. And
Mm-hmm.
okay, I used to be like a community organizer here, and
Mm-hmm.
a little bit cliquish here. They have their own like Filipino online groups here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to go back to them and try to introduce. At first, I was
Mm-hmm.
or let's say they were deleting my post, but this time, at with state of emergency, they're the
You
ones
appreciate it
encouraging me.
more.
Yes,
Yeah.
tell us more about freelancing course. So it's
Mm-hmm.
slowly but surely. Actually, that's the Japanese culture, like slowly
Mm-hmm.
but surely. So
Mm-hmm.
hopefully,
That's right.
as the days go on, we will have a really good foundation.
Mm-hmm.
Why the system that I did here is like have co-trainers that only
Mm-hmm.
things, and then the trained ones, I'm encouraging them that we will partner together.
Mm-hmm.
Asking them, would you like to be in a team like those who were accepted on Upwork, that we can
Mm-hmm.
team, and then now making my online presence again. If before I'm just so focused actually with the Japanese constituents.
Mm-hmm.
After like almost 20 years with the Filipino community, I need to focus on my own venture.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going back because, yeah, I care for our kababayan, our
Mm-hmm.
Filipino kababayan countrymen here.
Mm-hmm.
With this course, actually, freelancing course, it's not limiting, the territory. Like,
Yeah.
I think I asked permission from you. Can I have students from other countries? And then
Yeah.
they said, okay. So I actually first asked my relatives, my nieces in Australia, in
Mm-hmm.
Canada, and even the Philippines. So, wow, it's like a, Trojan horse. We can
Mm-hmm.
penetrate different places. It's like
Mm-hmm.
wilderness.
As long as
And
there's internet, yep, access to
yeah,
internet and computer, yep, everybody can be taught. Yep. And
yeah.
basically, this is what
Mhm.
this video is all about because we want to encourage those who are in Japan today, that they may lost their jobs, whatever it may be. They're not allowed to go out anymore. You guys are some, half offsite and half online, but you even were affected when it comes to the COVID-19 quarantine, in Japan. And it's a very good, when you mention about your situation and being advanced with everything, those are, the plus points of Filipinos or even Japanese people who are in Japan would like to consider freelancing because you have stable internet, there are no power outages, and probably you are one of the fastest internet, when it comes to the internet speed in the country or probably in the Pacific. And yep, those are things that would benefit those who are starting in freelancing when they are based in Japan. Because here in the Philippines, others are even starting in an internet cafe, especially before, pre-COVID. And there are power outages. There are a lot of things that they are, the limitations are there. But in Japan, those who would like to start when it comes to the freelancing industry, and yeah, just like you mentioned, there are no limitations. As long as they have access to internet and computer, they all can train. And at this point, let's probably bring in Coach Maiden and Margaret.
Okay.
They are your students. Hi, Maiden. Hi,
Yeah.
Margaret. So, hi to you guys. Would you like to say
Hello,
konnichiwa?
konnichiwa to everyone.
All right.
Konnichiwa. Hello to everyone.
So probably let's start with how long have you been in Japan, and what was the first thoughts probably when Coach Hannah introduced the freelancing to you? What were the first few words and the first few thoughts probably that came into your mind? Because probably this is something that's foreign to you, or probably not anymore. So why don't we go and start with Maiden? Probably introduce yourself first, and then with Margaret afterwards.
Oh, yes. So, my name is Maiden. I've been living in Japan for 4 years now. Actually, I met Coach Hannah 3 years ago. We were classmates in this financial course. So,
Mhm.
I've known her for quite some time. So,
Mhm.
this year, Coach Hannah introduced this freelancing course with us. Okay,
Mhm.
so I was very interested. Before Coach Hannah introduced FVA, I actually, knew about FVA. And
Mhm.
yes, I think last year I made some screenshot of
Okay.
an FVA ad, and I was really interested in the
Mhm.
courses.
Mhm. Nice. How about you, Margaret? What was your first thoughts? first thoughts on the freelancing, and then also how long have you been in Japan?
Okay, so hello again. My name is Margaret, and I've been here
Mhm.
for 13 years. And
Wow.
I met Coach Hannah 4 years ago because I was a part-time teacher with her school, and
Mm-hmm.
then again we were classmates again. And when she introduced me this FBA, I said that okay, I think this is the right time to study something new
Mm-hmm.
because we were actually me and Maiden are partners. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
we're doing some projects, and then actually we're talking to other people who are actually telling us that Japan is trying to jump to digital and technology when it comes to teaching. So they
Mm-hmm.
actually introduced us to some stuff that we didn't know. And
Mm-hmm.
then Miss Hannah introduced this FBA, and then I told her that this is actually a very, very good timing. We don't need to study on our own what they're telling us. We can actually get all of this from FBA, and then we were
Mm-hmm.
actually very, very glad that Miss Hannah included us in those classes.
And those
Yes.
are the very passions that she had, like providing opportunities for you guys because of what happened. So let me go ahead and start, probably with Maiden again and then Margaret after. How was your experience with the freelancing course? I know that you guys are world first when it comes to English teaching. That's the type of work that you provide to a lot of people in Japan. And when you transitioned, from English teaching into the freelancing community, what were the struggles, probably the challenges? Was it hard? Was it just easy? Was it a smooth transition? Because I know there were some time restraints as well. I know Coach Hannah was like trying to, I think, make it a little bit faster. You guys were the first batch, and instead of going through it for I think 1 month, you went through the whole process for just 1 week or 2 weeks, I think. So you are like a special batch, but that's actually a good side because you might be the first few people that might be communicating freelancing for the first of Japan. As Japan will transition into the freelancing world, you might be the first few people that might be pioneers of freelancing in Japan. So I would like you to communicate, to others who are interested in the freelancing industry, to Filipinos probably in Japan watching us right now. What was your first experiences, probably challenges along the process that you can relate to them, that they can prepare in advance as they will transition in the freelancing industry as well later on. So let's start with Baden first.
Yes, so you were right. In March, Coach Hannah introduced this course to us, and then she said we only have 2 weeks to finish this. So that's really a challenge for us, since it's
Mhm.
only that's only 2 weeks. So I'm not sure if I can finish it or not.
Mhm.
Anyway, I think it's all about time management. So every
Mhm.
day I make sure that I finish one or two lesson videos, and then
Mhm.
after that I
Wow, that's
do
a lot.
the portfolios.
Mhm.
Yes, so yeah, it's true. It was overwhelming at first. I think the
Mhm.
other students are also feeling the same thing.
Mhm.
But anyway, um, to be the road to freelancing is, it's not a smooth journey. We
Mhm.
really have to work hard for it.
Mhm.
So with determination, I try to discipline myself as well as improve my time management skills. So
Mhm.
yeah, I was able to finish it and receive that gold certificate.
Okay,
Yeah,
congratulations.
and then the this course in Japan is worth 10,000 yen, and I'm
Mhm.
like, oh, the knowledge that I gained is not really worth 10,000 yen. It's way more than that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Although my background initially is engineering,
Mhm.
um, I learned a lot from the freelancing course.
Mhm.
And I now, well, I enrolled in another niche course, which is the FB
Mhm.
ads marketing.
Mhm.
I'm going to start
Mhm.
that tonight. So I'm
Yep. So
very
happy.
excited.
Mhm.
Yes.
Nice. How about you, Margaret? What was your experience with the freelancing course?
Okay, so I think among us three right now, so I think
Mm-hmm.
I was the most challenged because technologically wise, I'm not that into computers. My
Technology.
background,
Mm-hmm.
yes, my background in the Philippines, my university, well, my course is more of science. I graduated as biologist. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
have any backgrounds in how to use a computer.
Mm-hmm.
So, but of course, I've been using, computer to make lesson plans and
Mm-hmm.
presentations for the past few years. But, um, learning about, this courses from FBA was really a challenge for me. It really took a toll with my patience. But, I think that it was really worth it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
especially now, you're gonna realize that there's a possibility that the new normal for this future is going to be you like most of the time inside the house and then
Mm-hmm.
just a few days or a few hours just outside. So what are you gonna do in order to maintain a what do you call this a life of what do you call this? How are you gonna do with your financial
Mm-hmm.
status if you don't have a work? So I
Mm-hmm.
think it's really good. It was a really good experience for me, and up until now I'm still adjusting. And
Mm-hmm.
then, like I said previously with Miss Hannah and Miss Maiden, was I'm not a homebody person. The mo- the only time I spend inside the house is when I sleep. So
Mm-hmm.
when we were confined and then I had to study this was really like, oh my God, I'm so stressed.
Oh
So,
yeah.
but you get to like with Maiden, a lot of determination. You need that, and then of course, like I always tell myself, that skills can be learned, and
Mm-hmm.
then if I can learn this, I'm pretty sure I can use this in the future. So yeah, there.
All right. Thank you for those answers. Yep, you mentioned, Margaret, that it's probably going to lead us to the new normal, and this is probably a tool that can help us in the new normal. And probably that's also one of the reasons because before in the freelancing world, even with the Filipino virtual assistants, we would average from 300 to, in my own coaching, 300 to 500 students, and probably 1,500 for the entire Filipino virtual assistants community. But in this month alone, we were able to get at least 1,000 for my coaching alone. There were like 1,300 plus students. And we even have to move to the next batch, I mean, to the next month, for others who enrolled late because we already have the limited slots taken. And this is probably because the freelancing or work from home, the telework is the new normal coming in, with what's going on in the world today. And probably I would end with the question, for both Maiden and Margaret on your realizations and the essence of the work from home during the COVID-19 or probably going into the new normal for the rest of the world today. So what do you think is the essence of the freelancing, probably in Japan or the rest of the world watching us today, on being equipped with the digital technology and the digital means or skills when it comes to the new normal, with what's going on in the world today?
Oh, yes. So we are living in a digital era, and it's really
Mhm.
fast paced. So we have to make sure that we upskill, and also we should not be afraid to try something new. Before I was really somehow scared to be a freelancer, but look at me now. I'm doing it. Um, Yes, so Margaret is right. This could be the new normal. And in the future, I can still see myself, working outside, but at the same time, doing freelancing at home. So
Mhm.
that's what I envision myself in this
Mhm.
new normal era.
Nice. How about you, Margaret? What are your realizations, during we as we transition into the new normal?
Well, yes, like what I said a while ago, this can be the new normal. But just in
Mhm.
case it doesn't, this kind of this courses, the things that we've learned from this FBA
Mhm.
classes, even if everything goes back to normal, I think this is something that we will be using because
Mhm.
again, we are on the digital world, and
Mhm.
children doesn't actually or the people actually doesn't live the way they do before, like
Mhm.
even for children, they're more technology advanced than us. And
True.
then
It's good
how are
hard.
you going to cope up with them if
Mhm.
you're not going to upskill yourself?
True.
So I think that this is really really I'm really really glad that I actually took this, because maybe
Mhm.
if I did it in another year or two, I'm gonna say, oh, I'm too old for this.
Mhm.
But yes, maybe the COVID is a blessing in disguise. Like it's
Mhm.
giving, like it's telling me, oh, you should go and do this because
Mhm.
you will have to use it in the future. So I'm really really glad that
Mhm.
I'm here. And then
Sorry.
actually, I'm enrolled with the web front end web design, and I'm gonna start tomorrow.
Wow. And
So
you said you were the technologically challenged earlier.
yes, yes, the
Yes.
technology challenge. I'm gonna do web. That's web designing.
Good.
So that's good luck to me.
That's good to hear. All right, thank you for those answers, Maiden and Margaret. And I hope that that will encourage a lot of people in Japan who might be considering freelancing. And I would like to also note on what Margaret mentioned that starting as early as now can probably benefit you. When I started freelancing in 2010, I did not really know that this would happen right now. And every day when COVID-19 came, every day my husband and I are grateful every day. Especially during the first few months or first few weeks, like, oh my goodness, we are stuck here, but we are still earning because we have the skills, we have the tools on how we can still work online. And probably let's end on Coach Hannah. Would you like to just encourage other people? I know that you're really burning for this. You were burning for the opportunity for Filipinos to have these tools in the telework that the president in Japan is encouraging everyone. But now Filipinos in Japan can have the same opportunity of still earning even during this pandemic with the freelancing course that you guys are offering. I think Maiden and Margaret can also go ahead and help. The whole team. You're in this together. Why don't we encourage the Filipino communities and even the Japanese people to start freelancing and start training with the digital tools that they may need, probably not just now but in the future as well.
Freelancing now is the world's smartest management strategy. So
Mm-hmm.
we will cope with the changing times. We are indeed in the e-commerce, digital communication. And so I really hope the Filipinos here in Japan and in other countries, learn new skills and learning the freelancing course, it will be a lifetime skill. Not only
Mm-hmm.
the duration of the study, but you can use it. And, I'm so passionate about the Filipino diaspora. We Filipinos are everywhere.
Scattered. Mm-hmm.
Yes, I've been to many countries and I've met a lot of Filipinos there. Now, through the freelancing course as VAs or general virtual assistants, we're like going to different countries. It's like type of Filipino diaspora, being
Mm-hmm.
a staff or a support team or
Mm-hmm.
team manager for a company based in other countries. So it's a new generation of Filipino diaspora where you are not like a slave, but you are
Mm-hmm.
the team,
Yep.
growing with the team. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm watching some of your videos. Like as the company will grow with our quality service,
Mm-hmm.
you can have stable income. So
True.
the branding, like you own the branding as if it's also your business when you work as a VA for a company.
Mm-hmm.
And the good thing here, you cannot just have one job. You can have many jobs, especially if
True.
it depends on one niche,
Mm-hmm.
2 to 3 companies. And at the comfort of your home, let's say when we go back to the Philippines,
Mm-hmm.
still continue with that job. So it's a less work. It's a
Mm-hmm.
job where we can serve, we can be teamwork with other companies based in other countries. And not only
Mm-hmm.
for one company, you can have more. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
reading some freelancers where they can work for even like 5, 8 companies. As long as you have this niche specialization, I believe you can do that. And I believe in the Filipinos, we can really be passionate, be so careful with our service so that it would be also our financial stability and
Mhm.
working not as a slave but as a team player in the growth of the company. So
Mhm.
for the Filipinos in Japan and in other countries, I really encourage you to go for freelancing and keep in touch with us. We are the team here. The style here in Japan is I really like working a team. It's not like one woman or one man, company, but I'd like to work a team. And so they are my first teammates, and some are coming in our team. And
Mhm.
hopefully, this month, this Friday, we'll be starting the third batch, and it's my hope that we have more batches every month. It's still like we are in a baby step, or I mean, baby stage, but
Mhm.
we're trying to have a strong foundation.
Mhm. That's very good.
And hopefully, not only Filipinos here, but other nationalities that we can train.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And if you are in Japan or you are watching this video and you would like to connect with this team, these are amazing women who are very passionate, in the freelancing industry. They experience it themselves, and what they experience, they can surely give it to you. So get connected, with Coach Hannah, Margaret, and Maiden here, and start your freelancing career as well. So that would be all. I hope that you got something and you were encouraged, when it comes to probably you're looking for ways, you're probably in Japan right now and you're looking for ways on how can I earn, right at the comfort of our homes, in the midst of this pandemic. Probably you lost your job and you're looking for another opportunity. Just like what Maiden mentioned, this is not, a bed of roses. You are still going to learn something, train something, but surely, this is an opportunity that can bring you a lot of other opportunities as well, because you will be looking on working with other clients, in Japan, probably locally, those needing digital marketing, or in other nations as well, with the brands and businesses who are needing your services as a freelancer. So try contacting Coach Hannah. This is the Filipino virtual assistants in Japan, and they might be able to help you when it comes to you starting an opportunity to earn. You have lost your job. You might be not able to go out anymore. You can start your journey as a freelancer, and you might be like Margaret here, who's used of going out, but look at here now. She is going into another venture of even a more technical freelancing skill. It just needs a simple start, and in the Filipino virtual assistants, we are providing that very training for you, so you can go from one step to the other in really enhancing your digital skills. So that would be all. Thank you so much, Coach Hannah, Margaret, and Maiden, for your time. Thank you for sharing your very
Thank you.
experiences. Yeah. So probably, how would we say goodbye in Japan?
Sayonara.
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 Yeah. Thank you,
And
everyone.
bye.
What do
Thank
you how
you.
to say that, Coach? Sayonara, something like that.
Sayonara. Yes.
Okay. All right. Bye, everyone. Sayonara. Thank
Bye.
you.
Sayonara.
Bye.
Bye.